If you want beautiful flattering light for your clients' portraits, clamshell lighting is the way to go. Clamshell lighting gets me more sales and more praise from my clients than any other sort of lighting. I'm going to show you 10 or more ways that you can do clamshell lighting in your living room or in the studio. Some of them are a bit unconventional, but we'll see how we go. Now, the principle of clamshell lighting means that we have two light sources in our image. We don't need two lights, we just need two light sources. The first light source is our main light. It comes from just above our client directly onto the face. The second one is used as a bounce light or a fill light from underneath. It's in a clam shape, so that's why we call it clamshell lighting. We can use speed lights, we can use strobes, we can use reflectors, umbrellas. I'm going to show you all of those techniques in this video today. Now, the beauty of clamshell lighting is because it's so frontal and so soft, it's very flattering for skin tones. It fills in any inconsistencies in the skin, any lines, any pores, and is very flattering for that skin tone. So we'll get started and see the results. Now, the first clamshell setup we're doing is a bit of an unconventional one. You've seen me do this before, but I'm doing it slightly differently now. We're going to use two speed lights. We're going to use one on top of the camera and another one underneath the camera. How do I attach a flash underneath the camera, you say? Oh, I'm glad you asked. I've made this little apparatus out of a little flash foot. This is a little foot mount that you get when you buy your flash, generally. And I've got a hole drilled in this where I can pass a small screw through that, and I can attach that to the bottom of my camera down here, and my second flash will slide onto that hot shoe mount. I won't do it now because I haven't got three hands, but I'll show you in a minute what it looks like. There we go. When we're using this arrangement, or any sort of clamshell arrangement, we want to make the top light, or the light above coming down onto our subject's face, the predominant light. I don't want this one to be brighter than this one. So I'm going to change the power of these individually. The top one's going to be on 1/16th power, and the one underneath will start at 1/32nd power. And we'll just vary it from there. I'd like to introduce Elizabeth. She's our model for the day. So we're going to get some great shots of Elizabeth today using these various different clamshell arrangements. So I'm going to do a shot of Elizabeth here using this flash arrangement, and then I'm just going to vary my power, or I might vary my aperture on my camera just to give me the exposure that I need. Okay, Elizabeth, we're just going to do a couple of test shots here first. And that's it, just focusing, here we go. All right. So you can see that result's a little bit dark. So I'm on f11 at the moment. I'm just going to open up my aperture lit. Probably go up to f7, and that's going to brighten that image up for me. And we'll be fine. Okay, once again, yeah, focusing on Elizabeth's eyes. Here we go. Okay, wonderful. Now you can see that that's an on-camera flash shot because that light looks like on-camera flash. But there's no shadows anywhere because I've got the top light and the bottom light filling in any shadows that might be there. I could also do a horizontal clamshell, which we're going to work with later on, but I can do it with this arrangement just the same by turning my camera to vertical. Okay, once again, here we go. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, terrific. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Okay, terrific. Now we'll do horizontal one. Here we go, yeah. Just hold your hands in front like you were before, yeah. That's it, good. You ready? Okay, beautiful. You can see it's got a ring light sort of an effect without paying all the money for the ring light. If you've got two speed lights, you can just use them. Looks really weird, doesn't it? But it looks cool at the same time. Imagine doing a wedding with having your flashes like this. Okay, we'll do a couple more because that looks really good. 1, 2, 3. For this second setup, we're just using our speed light again into a white umbrella, a shoot-through umbrella, as our top light, and we're just going to use a reflector as our bottom part of that clamshell. Going to put it down here just so that it reflects that little bit of light back up into Elizabeth's face. Here we go. Yeah, great. Okay, beautiful. Now, a lot of clamshell lighting demonstrations will tell you that you need that light directly over the camera. It's not an easy thing to do if you don't have boom stands and things. I have one, but you guys may not have one. So it's usually adequate just to shoot as close to the light stand as you can. Because this is a large light source, it's not going to be really critical. If I had a very small light source, such as a speed light or something like that, then I would probably need to be a little bit more central. But this is going to be fine. Now, I'm going to take a shot of Elizabeth here using this white reflector. Then I'm going to turn it over and use the silver side, just to give me a little bit more intense light to come up on her face. Okay, here we go. Focusing, yeah, okay. Lovely. Just turn that face a little bit to the side, yeah, that's it, good. Okay, terrific. Now we're going to turn that over. As you can see, it's a very expensive homemade reflector. Yeah, that's lovely. You can see that light's directly frontal onto Elizabeth's face. There's a little bit more light coming from above than there was with the other setup, but that's fine. We can vary this clamshell effect by changing the difference between our top light and our bottom light. Now we're going to do something, again, a little bit more unconventional. I'm still going to use my speed light to do this, but I'm going to place it behind my camera. And I'm going to aim my speed light through a scrim, which is the central piece of your 5-in-1 reflector. It's the translucent part. So if I aim my flash through that translucent reflector, that translucent scrim, it's going to give me a nice overall light onto Elizabeth's face. This is the central part of our reflector, which we call a scrim. It allows light to come through. We use it in the sunlight, we use it outdoors with flash, but we can use it in the studio as well. Now I'm using my tripod for this today because I don't have any assistance. I've got to do all this on my own, which is a real chore, as you know, but you guys are probably doing it on your own as well. So there are ways to get around everything. My tripod just allows me to frame up the shot beforehand so that I can just control the lighting. And I'm going to use my self-timer to fire my shot, which means you guys have to stand around for a little while, but that's okay. So the setup that we've got, as you can see here, I've got my camera on the tripod, pre-focused and pre-framed on Elizabeth. I've got my speed light back here on full power because I know that I'm going to lose some power from the scrim, going through the scrim, and it's a fair distance from Elizabeth as well. So I'm shooting at f4 on my lens, that's the maximum that I've got. So all I need to do is hold up my scrim here, and that flash is going to light through the scrim and give a nice soft light on Elizabeth's face. I've got my self-timer on as well, just so that I don't have to press the shutter. All right, here we go, Elizabeth, just looking straight into the lens. Here we go. This feels a bit ridiculous. There we go. Okay. Yeah, lovely light. Here we go. Yeah, beautiful lighting. You want to have a look? Okay. There we go. Simply with a scrim and a speed light. Beautiful studio light. Now we've moved up to some studio strobes. So I've got a couple of small studio strobes here. They're mains powered, but you could use battery powered ones if you needed to. Small 600mm square softboxes. I'm going to have one up high coming down onto Elizabeth's face, the other one down low coming up onto her face. Now I've got them both set to the same power. Why would I do that? Because I told you I want the top one to predominate. The reason is that the top one's closer to Elizabeth than the bottom one. So it's naturally going to be a little bit more powerful on her face, light her face a little bit more, and the bottom one's just going to provide that fill that I want. I can vary that by moving the bottom one up higher. but I'll see how it looks. I think it's going to look okay. All right, Elizabeth, so here we go again. Okay, just focusing. Okay, here we go. Ah, you're seeing what happened there? I've still got my self-timer on. I bet that's never happened to you. I bet you've never done that in your whole life. Okay, so I'm going to turn that back to single. Okay, here we go. Lovely. Focus on your eyes. Here we go. Great. Yes, that's it. Very similar light to the previous one that we had. Okay, just tilt that head down that way a little bit, Elizabeth. Yeah, that's it. Great. Lovely. Yes, I'm moving a bit closer. Okay. Fantastic. Maybe turn your shoulders around to the side further. Yep. And your face back to the shoulder. Yeah. That's it. Terrific. Here we go. Okay. Wonderful light. Very flat frontal light, but it works. You can see how beautiful it looks here. All of these lighting arrangements give you similar results. They just slightly vary a little bit depending on the size of the light source and the softness. So I've just modified this slightly. I'm still using the same 600mm softbox from above, but I've got the reflector down below to replace the other light. It's going to give me a similar result. I just want to see the difference. Now, a lot of these arrangements you can see by looking into those catch lights in Elizabeth's eye. If you can get in close and see, you'll see that the two softboxes will give us two square highlights in her eye, one above the other. The reflector will give us a slightly lesser catch light in those eyes. So you can see what sort of lighting I've used, or any photographer's used, by simply looking at those catch lights. Now, because I've got less light in this, I'm going to open up my aperture a little bit more, taking it up to f9. Okay, here we go. Yeah, lovely. Okay. Yes, beautiful. Not quite enough, so I'm going to take it down to f11. Okay, focusing. Here we go. Lovely. Yeah. Great. Yeah, beautiful shot. What we might do, Elizabeth, is get you to turn around that way and look at me back over your shoulder, if you can. Yeah, that's good. Now I can ask Elizabeth to pose in any way because this lighting's still going to be consistent because it's coming directly above the camera. She can turn one way, turn the other way. That light's going to be consistent. We're not going to have shadows on her face because we're using clamshell lighting. Yes, that's it. Lovely. Think of those happy things. Yeah. That's it. Wonderful. One more, yeah. Okay. Great stuff. So the variety of shots you can get with this lighting is good. It's simple. So many different poses with one lighting setup. Okay, I've changed this setup simply to a horizontal clamshell. So we've got the 600mm softboxes side by side. I'm going to shoot through the middle of it, just like it would be a horizontal clamshell. I've also got a reflector down here that I'll use in a minute, but I'll just use the two horizontal lights first, and I'll stick the reflector in so that we've got the best of both worlds. Okay, lovely. Here we go, Elizabeth. I'm just going to shoot a horizontal one. Yeah, that's great. Here we go. Great. That looks good. Yeah. Do I look good? Once again, nice focus. Yeah. That's it. Great. Yeah. Maybe turn around to the side again. Yep. Turn your face back this way. Yep. Yeah. That's it. Great. Okay. Yep. Okay. Beautiful light. Once again. Now, if we wanted to, we could darken that background down. I'm going to use a dark background in a little while, but we can darken that background down slightly if we wanted to, simply by moving this whole apparatus forward, including Elizabeth. The further the lights are from the background, the darker that background's going to be. So as long as we maintain the same distance between Elizabeth and the lights, the exposure on her face is going to be exactly the same, but moving the whole thing forward means that our background's going to be a bit darker. I'm going to do that now. Okay, So I'm going to move that further back. Move that further back. I'm going to move you about 1 metre forward, please. Okay, Robbie can't see me now, but that's okay. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Wonderful. And once again, yeah. So you can see that background's just gotten a bit darker. Everything else is the same because we moved the lights back, moved Elizabeth back, and we're just further away from the background, so it changes the light on the background. Now we're going to go back to where we were before. Now, I can vary this again, if I want to, by moving these lights closer together. The further apart they are, it will light the sides of Elizabeth's face a little bit more. The closer in they are, and I shoot through the middle, the more they act as a single light source. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to pull this right in close, so I've just got enough space to get my lens through there. And here we go. That's it. Wonderful. Get in here. Yep. Good. And second one, maybe tilt to the side a little bit. Yeah, that's it. Great. All right, now we're going to put the reflector in and show you that. It's going to bounce a little bit more light up into Elizabeth's face, but we've got to be careful that we don't get it too up. We might need to reduce it down a little bit, we'll see. So we can vary this a little bit even more. I keep thinking of these ideas. So we can have our reflector in a vertical format, which is going to throw most of that reflected light into Elizabeth's face in the centre, or we could turn our reflector sideways. That's going to even up that light on the sides of her face as well. So that will give us a slightly different effect. I won't do it, but it's just a point of interest I wanted to mention. Okay, so maybe turn around to face that way. Yep. That's it. Open up your shoulders a little bit this way. Yeah, that's it. Great. Just wiggle around till it feels comfortable. Okay. Okay, just focusing. Here we go. Lovely. Give that focus. Yeah. Tilt that head down that way for me. Yeah, good. Terrific. Okay, now I'm going to hold that reflector up a bit closer to your face. You can hold it as well. Yeah, that's it. Great. Just focusing. Here we go. Okay, wonderful. Now you can see by just holding that reflector closer to Elizabeth, there's a little bit more uplight, but the downlight still predominates, so it's still fine. Now, the reason why we want that downlight to predominate is because out in the real world, the sun is the only light source that we see, and the sun very rarely gets below our subject. So having that light coming down on a subject looks so much more natural to us. Our brain likes that sort of lighting. Once we get light coming up on a face, it looks gruesome, it looks spooky, and Elizabeth doesn't want to look spooky. That's good. Okay, that looks great. Now we're getting a bit weird again. We're going to use this strip box as a clamshell light by using half of it from above down onto Elizabeth's face and the other half up onto her face. The camera's in the centre, so it's going to still give us that clamshell effect. I've got a grid on this that will restrict the spread to the side. It's not going to really make much of a difference to the overall light because it's aimed directly at Elizabeth's face. So this will give you a similar result to the ones we had before. We've changed around a little bit. We've asked Elizabeth to let her hair out and we're shooting on a dark background. But the results will still be there. The results are still that clamshell effect. Okay. I'll just widen up the shot a little bit more with my zoom. There we go. Once again. Yeah, lovely. See, I can even take photographs without looking. Another one? Here we go. That's good. I hope Elizabeth wasn't making silly faces. No. Okay, that's another way to do that clamshell lighting. The last setup we're doing is a much more conventional way of doing things. This is what I would normally do in the studio for most of my clients. I have a large 1200mm softbox with my studio strobe in there and a silver reflector down below. The clamshell still gives us that beautiful frontal light. It just allows me a little bit more softness in the overall result. Now I said this was going to be the last one. It's not going to be the last one. I've got one more for you. after this, but I'll show you what this looks like. Large softbox, reflector, bouncing light back up. Okay, Elizabeth, here we go. Just shoot it horizontal, focusing. Yeah, that's it. A couple of vertical shots. Yeah, can you turn your shoulders around to the front? Yeah, great. Okay, just tilt that head a little bit to the side. Yeah, lovely. Yep. Okay, terrific. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple of negative fill reflectors on the side of Elizabeth's face, just to darken the sides of her face a little bit, to be able to shape that light a little bit more. So this is just how I adjust my reflectors. I've got a little bit of gaffer tape taped to this black foam core, and I just place it over the top of my light stand like that. It hangs there. I can move it in wherever I want it to go, and I can just change that height to position that where I want it to be. Maybe turn your legs around to the front, because these have got to go in right beside you. Here we go. Just looking, yep. Okay, here we go. Yeah, terrific. Okay, maybe turn your face that way a little. Yeah, good. Yeah, a couple of serious ones for me. Yeah, good. Okay. Beautiful. I love that. Yeah, you can see how those dark reflectors just darken the sides of Elizabeth's face. It looks very Vogue. Here we go. Yeah. Terrific. Thanks for that, Elizabeth. That was amazing. Well done. Okay, so you guys can see how this clamshell lighting works. You can work out which arrangement you want to do, but it's really going to make you a lot of sales, because that clamshell lighting is very flattering, as you've seen in these results. See, all this stuff that really sounds stupid, I edit out later on. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. So if you want to learn a little bit more about clamshell lighting, about beauty lighting, have a look at this video. I'm sure you'll get more out of that. So I'll see you next time.